Hello and welcome to Istanbul in Turkey. This is the first Giants Live, the World's Strongest Man qualifying tour Grand Prix of the 2010-2011 season. And we're at Katona Park in Beşiktaş area of Istanbul for this first contest. And all the big names are here, including Zydrunas Savickas, the world's strongest man himself.
Giants Live, welcome to Turkey!
Well, the fans are coming in, all the top names are getting ready. They have 6 events ahead of them. Here are the athletes. Stoyan Todorchev, Bulgaria's strongest man. Pijol, the 19-year-old from Romania. Konstiantyn Ilin, twice Ukraine's strongest man. Laurence Shahlaei, a world's strongest man finalist. Ervin Katona, the strongest man of Serbia. Skog, the giant from Norway. Stefan Solvi-Peterson, Iceland's strongest man. Felix, 45 years old. Big Brian Shaw just missed out on winning the world's strongest man title, and the man who beat him and won it 2 times in a row, Zydrunas Savickas. The fans are pouring in, 6 events ahead of us. Our first event is the last man standing Apollin's axle. The competitors have to pick this axle up. The handle's 2 inches thick as a Coke can. They have to pick it to their chest and press it overhead. The starting weight is 165 kilos. If you make that, it goes up and up. The world record is 193 kilograms, owned by Big Z, of course. The bar keeps going up, and Felix failed at 165. Katona hit that, and hit 185 too. So we join the action as the bar goes up and up. Referee Gregor Edmonds making sure 195 kilograms is on the bar. Start of round 4. Start of round 4, 195 kilos then, and Gregor Edmonds watching here as Skog goes for what is not only a Norwegian record, but a world record. To beat Savickas' 193 kilos set in London Wembley Arena last year. No, he doesn't have it. Good effort though at 185. And this being just over a month after the World's Strongest Man contest, men are still very strong. Brian Shaw's Savickas. I think there's a number of guys who could break the world record. Pijol, new to the strongman scene, just 19 years old. Big Olympic lifter though, and according to his father and coach, he's hit 195 in training. I just feel it's a soft world record, 193. Waiting to be broken. Will he be the man? To the chest without a problem. That thick bar, no difficulty for him. Overhead. Excellent effort there. It is a world record for the youngster. The crowd being treated to something special there. And he looks good for a lot more. This contest could go on and on. Bit of showboating too. I like his style. Konstiantyn Ilin. No lack of aggression here. Really gets himself pumped up. Using the European clean style when you rest it on your stomach. Up to the shoulders. Gets it, equals it. 195 by 2 men, and we still have the biggest of the names to come. Shahlaei, England's strongest man. Half Iranian. Extremely explosive. That was very easy overhead. Goodness me, 3 men now, and I've never seen so many men turn up to a contest in such good shape. Stefan Solvi-Peterson, the big Icelander, spends a lot of time in Scotland at the Highland Games, but has worked very hard in his pressing. If he can get it to his shoulders, he'll stand a good chance. Oh yes, look at that! Exceptional tricep power. And another true awesome Viking from Iceland. This time it's Brian Shaw stepping up from Colorado. Just missed out on winning the World's Strongest Man title, second in South Africa. 6'8", being that tall doesn't really help. But he overcomes it with some wild power. Hey! Once again, well, anything you guys can do, I can do it too, maybe better. One man left in the round, and that's Zydrunas Savickas, who's seen so many men go past his world record of 193. To be fair, he's never really been pushed in this event before. To the chest with ease. Oh, just presses it with shoulders and triceps. Very easy. Well, I think we've got to go up at least, well, 5, I think 10 kilos probably, and that's what Gregor Edmonds has gone for. Head referee, we are really in uncharted territory now. Pijol to go 10 kilos up on what is a fresh world record. Again to the shoulders without problem. Oh! And when you've missed it once, you rarely get it a second time. It was a good effort, but 195 it is for Pijol, and the bar can barely hold on all the weight. Well, I wonder how much Ilin gave in that last lift. He looked super psyched. He seems to have got himself in the zone again. Up he goes. Ooh, he gave a lot there just to get that up to the shoulders. And had nothing left to give. So 195, his best. Here comes Laurence Shahlaei. And the way he jerked it overhead, again, I think if he can get it to his shoulders, he's got the leg power to blast this overhead. He's probably the most improved strongman in the world right now. Oh, he does it. Well, if it was a clean and jerk contest, it wouldn't be any good. There was a lot of pressing out at the end, but this is strongman. Any way you can to get it up, and it's a world record for Laurence Shahlaei of Bristol. England's strongest man. Took his time and just got it. I'm not sure he's worth any more, but that doesn't matter. His world record. Peterson then looked good at 195. His pressing power was stunning. Again, up under the stomach. Ooh! That looked very awkward. And well, he's obviously done something there. What happened? Just maybe something in the shoulder, rotator cuff muscles perhaps. Hopefully nothing too bad. As Savickas comes out to try and do the 205. The world's greatest presser. Oh, and that's why, goodness me, it looked like 140 kilograms on the bar. That was nothing. Well, I said he'd never been pushed, and he really hadn't. What can he go to? 215 kilos on the bar now. Well, we're starting to make our way up towards 500 pounds. This is really something else. Laurence Shahlaei Only 2 men left in it. Shaw didn't do the last weight, so just Shahlaei and Savickas. Big moment. Has to get it all absolutely right. Can he even get it to his shoulders? Yes, he can. Looks uncomfortable. And could barely get it off his chest in the end. 2:05 it is. Certainly a big British record there from Laurence Shahlaei by some margin.
Too much.
Impressive performance. Now, will we have a standalone winner? One of the world's greatest powerlifters ever. Arguably the strongest man in history. When it comes to shoulders, unbeatable. Or is he? 2:15. Oh, 23 kilos on the old world record today. Zydrunas Savickas pushes it overhead. I think there might have even been a little bit more if he had to do it. Oh, yes.
Z, 185 looked a bit dodgy. 215, the greatest weight ever by a huge margin. It's just incredible. How did you pull it off?
It was big weight, but I feel very good. And I lift with good power this weight. My clean was very good. I not lose a lot power. And then I just lift overhead. That's it.
What do you think about when people say you're the strongest man that ever lived?
I am very proud to hear it.
Well, another world record. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, Zydrunas Savickas, 215 kilos, the largest axle ever lifted by 23 kilograms. Savickas once again proving he is #1. In this stunning city here in Istanbul, split apart by the Bosphorus Sea, half in Asia, half in Europe. Well, we have 5 events to go. Still have a test of back strength. Next up, it's a real test of endurance.
Things are quite literally heating up here. It's about 35 degrees now, and they're up against the Farmer's Walk Medley. 150 kilos in each hand has to be run up 20 meters, back 20 meters. If that wasn't hard enough, they then pick this beer barrel, which weighs 130 kilos, and stagger, run, walk another 20 meters and put it on the platform at the end.
Richard Skog was out first with Katona, 44.16 for him, 35.1 for the Serb. Ilin was out next, 54.2 seconds for him, charging ahead of Paul Pijol right at the end, who hit 59.2 seconds. So we join the action, and the next pair out, Mark Felix, originally of Grenada, now living in Blackburn, England, and Stoyan Todorchev of Bulgaria, who is extremely quick at these kind of events and has a great grip, but so too Mark Felix. Massive hands on Felix. Many consider Felix to have the best grip in the world. Certainly does on Rolling Thunder, which is one of the great grip test strength competitions. Ooh, it's Todorchev at the turn, though. He's got such quick feet, Todorchev. Almost unbeatable at Super Yoke and at Farmer's Walk as well, and he's making Felix look slow. Now then, this heavy concrete barrel. The hamstrings will be singing. He's trying to catch Felix. Could bring this close at the line. Hands have to be off the barrel. Oh, what was that? 36.33. And in the end, it's quite clear who won. Todorchev, 41.45. Big Brian Shaw. For a giant man, he can shift against Stefan Solvi-Peterson. The same can be said of him.
Hey, baby.
My name is Stefan Solvi-Peterson.
You're so powerful.
I'm Iceland's strongest man, 24 years old, 6'5", 155 kilos.
You're invincible.
So my experience here in Istanbul has been great. The people here have taken me with open arms. I've been going from TV station to TV station, doing interviews, and they seem like Turkey is really excited and ready to see a strongman competition. So I really think that Turkey has a potential to be a strongman nation. We haven't really seen many strongman athletes from Turkey, but we're hoping to do so because there's a rich tradition of Olympic weightlifting, wrestling. So we're really looking forward to introduce strongman to Turkey and hopefully generate some interest for the future and get good athletes from Turkey. So people ask me all the time, why do people do strongman? Why do I try to lift heavy stone and why do I try to lift up cars? And there's actually no good answer for it, really. You know, it's just a passion. Push ourselves hard and see what we can do. If I would have to sum up Zydrunas, Savickas, I would just have to be honest, and I truly believe that he is just the strongest man that has ever lived. Iceland's strongest man here in Turkey, ready to fight, yeah!
Stefan Solvi-Peterson, always super focused. But he's got a real tough task here to beat Brian Shaw, who is like a cut snake at the moment, beaten at the world's strongest man by Savickas. Well, he wasn't really beaten. He was equaled Savickas on points and lost on countback. But I tell you what, just over a month afterwards, and it's Stefan Solvi who's looking good at this event that really needs speed endurance. Shifting the Icelander, jogging that home, 32.85. That is a wonderful time. And a 35.34 for Shaw. A good time too, but the Icelander left him in his wake. Now, Savickas against Shahlaei in the final pairing. This will be interesting. Neither men at first glance look like sprinters, but both men rammed with explosive, fast twitch fiber, and it's neck and neck up to the line. Turn and go a little bit quicker for Shahlaei. They don't look that heavy, these cylinders, but they are just solid. Turns and goes. This is going to be a win for Shahlaei, and this is going to make today rather interesting. Look at that. It's around 30 seconds, just under 28.14 in the end is the official time. 31.13 for Savickas. Both men, great times, first and second overall. And when you see them again, they don't look like sprint athletes, but they are just so athletic.
So, Laurence, it's turning out to be a great day so far. A win against the best in the world, huh?
Yeah, it's very nice. I just enjoyed myself this weekend. I came to Turkey to have some good fun, relax and start enjoying strongman a bit more. I think last year I put a bit too much pressure on myself, and I just want to get back to having fun. That's why I started, so I'm enjoying it today, loving it.
Yeah, it was a huge disappointment not making the world's strongest man final, but now you've got a chance to prove yourself.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. I mean, you know, we're all strong guys here. Some days you have a bad day. I'm enjoying it. I'm not looking forward to this next event, but, you know, I'll give it my best and see how the day finishes.
Laurence Shahlaei, 28.14 seconds, 2 seconds ahead of Savickas, who managed to beat Stefan Solvi down into third place. So Shahlaei and Savickas are equal on 19 points, Solvi in third. We still have 4 events to come. Next up is going to be the Tombstone carry. Well, this city is hustling and bustling with life. And certainly the staple diet of Istanbul suits the strongmen. Meat. And lots of it. Well, the joint leaders, Shahlaei and Savickas, going into event 3.
Event 3 is probably the most brutal event today. You have to pick these giant tombstones, let's call them. Shield carry is what it's traditionally known as. Pick them up and carry them up and down a 20-meter course as many times as possible. Twist with this one is these weigh 200 kilograms.
Paul Pijol managed 40.45 meters. Ilin just 9.3. Richard Skog barely got off the mark. Todorchev 16.65 meters. Well, they've never seen anything quite like this in Istanbul before. They like their weightlifting, but Strongman is new. Shaw versus Felix in this next head-to-head clash. Half the problem with this is just getting it off the ground. 440 pounds, 200 kilograms, and it's Felix who's up and away first. But remember, this isn't a race. Big steps from Brian Shaw as he's reeling in Felix and goes sprinting past. There's no real grip on these stones, and for Felix, he's coming close to the end at 20 meters, I fear. Shaw still going well, but the turn always takes it out of you. I think this will be the leader. Excellent job there. 45.54 meters into first place so far. And Felix, well, he went down just after the 20-meter mark. Ervin Katona from Serbia, that massive chest may well hinder him in this. And Stefan Solvi-Peterson, who has exceptionally long arms. He might be able to wrap his way around this. It's so hot here. The conditions up over 90 degrees Fahrenheit, near 35 degrees Celsius. Probably get some sweat on the hands here, which won't help either. They've tried to use as much chalk as possible. Stefan Solvi, I like the way he turned there. He just sort of made a bit of an apex rather than stopping and sharply turning. But Katona's gone, so too is Stefan Solvi. And they're both looking at their forearms. It's really cut into the arms. 28 meters for Stefan Solvi, nowhere near what Brian Shaw did. Now, Laurence Shahlaei up next, and he takes on Zydrunas Savickas in this final pairing. Well, once again, the huge chest and power belly of Savickas, will that play against him? Shahlaei spending a long time just getting it up. Already he looks really uncomfortable, Shahlaei. He's holding on by his fingertips. Savickas has big mitts all the way around it. Looks much more comfortable. And no, Shahlaei never looked good with that. 21.15. Enough to beat his compatriot Felix. Trying to beat 45 meters by Brian Shaw. 40 at the turn, and he goes down. 40.9, a good effort.
Brian, that looked incredibly hard, that event.
Yeah, it was tough. You know, the thickness and the size of that stone makes it really awkward to carry. And, you know, it was tough to get a hold on it and go, you know, so.
You're looking a bit tired.
Yeah, you know, I'm a 9-hour time difference coming over, and I just got here yesterday, so it's kind of like I'm training about 1 or 2 in the morning a.m., you know, so it's you know, it's something that you have to deal with when you travel, and this is just part of Strongman.
Brian Shaw wins the shield carry, getting one over his old rival Savickas, who finishes second and still gets some good points. Pijol doing better in that event, and that brings him up to 5th, but Savickas leads overall, 3 points ahead of Shahlaei. Shaw moves into 3rd ahead of Solvi.
Event 4 is the car deadlift. You have to pick the back of this car up as many times as possible in 60 seconds. A good family car, but let's make it a little heavier. What we're going to do is we're going to get a whole family out the crowd, weigh them in on this scale, and then we'll see how tough it is.
Well, we're weighing in as many of the locals as possible to try and get the car up to the right weight. 375 kilos in the hands. That's what they're lifting. That's 800 pounds plus. And Richard Skog came out first. 6 reps was his mark, bettered by Stefan Solvi-Peterson at 8. Todorchev, the big deadlifter, hit 13. Ervin Katona, though, one of the best powerlifters in the world, 15. Shahlaei, who has a stunning back strength, 16. So we join the action. Konstiantyn Ilin strapping on. Quite short Ilin with very long arms. I say short, still 6 foot. You can see the movement for him is much smaller than some of the tall men. And this looks really good. Look at the strain on his shoulders, though. So much weight going through the hands here. Up to 9 reps. Double figures. Got to work through the pain barrier. Chasing 16 by Shahlaei. There's 12. Oh, goodness me. The strap just exploded on the other side, and that shows you just how heavy this weight is. That's made of seatbelt material. Well, hopefully he's okay. Seems to be. A little bit of a bruised bottom and ego, perhaps. 12 reps. And Mark Felix gets called in. Well, for a long time, people said he had the strongest back in the world. But I think it's fair to say there's a number of guys who've caught and maybe even passed him. But still, he will lap this up. He's going to put out a huge figure here. I'm sure of that. And then we'll have to wait and see what the likes of Savickas and Shaw manage. Just like a metronome. Up and down. Each rep looking pretty easy at the moment. Okay, taking a breather. 12 repetitions. 4 to equal first, 5 to take the lead. Look at that. Incredibly long arms, Felix. 16 reps. 17, he's in the lead. This is now just to put pressure on those coming after. 19, and he runs out of time. I think he probably ran out of steam as well. Well done, Mark Felix, good effort. Tell you what, the first one looked just about as good as the last. He is in such good condition for a 45-year-old man. Well, it's the turn of the youngster. He's young enough to be Felix's son, 19 years old. Under half his age. What's his back strength like? It takes years of gym training to really get as strong as someone like Felix, and yeah, this is a monumental task for the youngster. Up goes number 4. Well, if he can get past 6, that is Richard Skog's number. No, that just looks rooted to the ground. Four reps it is then. Pijol has to give up. A decent effort from the Romanian, who's very much hot and cold at events. He's got his strengths, but he's definitely got weaknesses. Now, the man who's pretty much bulletproof, Zydrunas Savickas. He'll be doing this for fun. Gregor Edmonds, the referee, just making sure he doesn't lift too early after each rep. Try and make sure the suspension doesn't come into play. If you're really quick, you can get it to bounce and almost stand back up with it. Hence the reason Edmonds is forcing them to wait at the bottom. 10 reps already. And he's at a quicker pace than Felix. 14. 15, 19 is what he wants. He looks good for it. This is a man who's pulled 440 kilograms in the gym. He really does have a claim to have the strongest back in the world. One more to prove it. 20 reps for Savickas. Time for another? No, that's it. The whistle comes and he is thoroughly exhausted. You really cannot underestimate the strength of the sun here in Istanbul. It is scorching hot. Makes his performance even more impressive. Now then, Brian Shaw finishes off. Won the last event, the shield carry. This is the kind of event that Shaw would love to beat Savickas at, but does he have the same absolute strength as Zydrunas? He's incredible at moving with objects. He has got a colossal amount of strength in the lower back. 10 reps, he's very quick. Savickas was there at 24, so he's certainly got the right pace to do it. Up goes number 14. Well, Savickas and Shaw are going to be fighting each other for at least a few years to come as the top two, I think. It's going to happen again in this event. 17, just over 10 seconds to go. He's got to try and pump out. There's one, two more ideally to equal Savickas. 19, one more to tie. Yes, he's done it just before the whistle. Just set off like a rabbit and just ground to a halt there at the end, just squeezing in that last one.
Zydrunas, 20 reps for you, 20 reps for Brian. You're very close at the moment, aren't you?
It was very close. It's unbelievable. I never lift 20 reps in deadlift. It's too much, and we was close. So we have next 2 events.
And do you think you can win this overall?
It's a good event for me. I hope I will keep my leading.
Well done, good luck.
Thank you.
Brian Shaw, Zydrunas Savickas, equal first on 20 reps. I wish Felix had managed to squeeze out that last one. He was so close. Savickas on top, 37.5 points. Shaw now into second, equal with Shahlaei. And Solvi's not so far behind either. This contest, like the weather, is heating up enormously. The Bosphorus Sea, which carves the city in half, one of the real beautiful sights of Turkey. That and the mosques. It is one of the most gorgeous cities. Vibrant, full of energy.
The penultimate event here in Istanbul is the log press for repetitions. These big boys weigh 150 kilograms. That's like lifting Stefan Solvi-Peterson to your chest and throwing him overhead. As many reps as possible in 1 minute.
Ervin Katona, 0 reps, very disappointing for him. And Todorchev, an injured shoulder, just 1. Skog managed 2 reps. It hasn't been a great day for him. Pijol, though, what a surprise. 6 reps. Stefan Solvi-Peterson next. Konstiantyn Ilin of Ukraine. Gives away about 20-25 kilos in body weight here, Ilin, but being that little bit shorter should help. Ilin on the left, Peterson on the right, and it's Ilin who's up and away first. Peterson to match, it's a good rep, but he doesn't half look ginger. His shoulder hurting him quite a bit. And I wonder if he's going to even join the party after this. I think that could be his lot. Ilin up with a second rep, no, a third even, and he is just beavering away here, looking for 6 that Pijol did. Again, Stefan Solvi goes in and blasts it up. You can see how much pain he's in. He did say that it was the rotator cuff muscles. Ilin on 5. 10 seconds, just over, to equal Pijol and do 6. Oh, it's not coming. So 5 it is, into second place. You can see the way the log rolls away from him, how steep this actually is. This stadium here, it's on a real steep incline. Mark Felix against Laurence Shahlaei. An all-English clash. But whatever you say about the surface, it's the same for both of them. Now, Felix up first and blasts it overhead. You'd expect Shahlaei to win this event between the two of them on past form, but it looks all over the place, Laurence. 2 for Felix. Having no problems at all, Felix. Much better from him. Uh-oh, over the head. I've seen him do that a few times. Seen him fall back into the advertising boards a few times as well. And look at Shahlaei, just chucks it away in anger. I'm not sure what he's saying. Wonder whether he's trying to blame the equipment there or not. Still, Savickas against Shaw, the final pairing. Ryan Shaw on the right, Zydrunas Savickas on the left. They get underway now. 215 kilos overhead in the opening event, the axle. So we know Savickas has the strongest shoulders in the world, but this brings in the whole strength endurance element. Savickas on 2, Shaw already looking a bit tired after 1. I wonder if that jet lag coming all the way from Colorado yesterday is really starting to bite. A long way up for Brian Shaw. So too for Savickas. He's no short man. Stands at about 6'4". Here comes number 5. Pumps it overhead without a problem. 1 more then to equal Pijol. This is going to be a great day for the little Romanian. 3 for Shaw. He'll have time for no more. But Savickas, yes, before the clock. And to be honest, lucky to share the lead with Paul Pijol. You do wonder how hard Savickas actually tried there. He knew he was ahead of Shaw, and perhaps that's all he was doing. Savickas then equals with Pijol, and Konstiantyn Ilin is in 3rd on 5 reps. Overall then, Savickas starting to pull clear, 46 points. Shaw on 39 in 2nd. Shahlaei and Solvi, interesting battle there for 3rd. We have one event to come in this great city, Istanbul in Turkey, at Kuşatflik Park. Everything to play for, and it comes down to a classic.
Of course, any good strongman contest has to finish with the stones. And here we have the Atlas stones ranging from 120 kilos up to 180 kilos. And this young man, aged just 19 years old, has had a great day. You just drew with Savickas in the log. That was a big result, surely.
Yes, I'm amazingly happy for this result. It's an honor to me to be with the strongest guys in the world and to win an event, to be draw with the strongest of all them.
So you've made the top 6, you've made the cut. Can you do any damage, maybe hit the podium?
That's why I wanted in the start to make the cut. Now I really get angry on these stones.
All right, good luck.
Thank you very much.
Mark Felix is going to set the pace here, and we know Felix is tremendous at the stones. Rips the first one off the ground with ease. Just repositions it on his lap pops it up. It's not too high, these platforms. Well, this is going to be a good time, somewhere around the 20 seconds, I think, if he can manhandle the last one. Oh, it's a slip. It is a slip, and they are quite dusty. That's the one thing about these big concrete bowls. Well, it could have been 20 seconds. In the end, it's over 30. 31.19 for the Englishman. And yeah, he's saying, look at the dust covered in it. So there's the benchmark for the others to chase. Now, Pijol, he's got to be 4 or 5 inches shorter than Felix. It'll make this a little bit trickier. Oh, good start. Tell you what, this youngster has a big future in the sport. Already Romania's strongest man twice. He's not even past his 20th birthday. 4 stones are up. This one then to go ahead of Mark Felix and have a big scalp taken there. Oh, he's struggling and it's awful slow. It's going to be close. 30.19. Yes, he is just ahead of Felix, and good points for him. Now, Stefan Solvi-Peterson of Iceland. The Icelander is lightning quick at these. Whatever weight, whatever size, he normally really dominates a set of stones. The shoulder doesn't seem to be bothering him. He could come in under 20 seconds if he's quick. Yes, he does. 18.35, and a good way to finish. And he's close on points to Shahlaei. Look at the dust coming off of these. Shahlaei is now really under pressure. He wants to get on the podium and guarantee himself one of those top 3 places for the World's Strongest Man contest, which will be held later in the year in West Virginia. Then he's going to have to really go some now. Up goes stone 2, and he is a lot slower than Stefan Solvi. He's got to try and beat Mark Felix at 31 seconds. Oh no, he's not going to do that at this pace. Is that some cramp? Well, he's going to go behind Felix and Pijol. I'll tell you what that means. If the big 2, Shaw and Savickas, do even 4 stones each, then for Shahlaei, it's over in terms of getting on the podium. Iceland and Stefan Solvi will take 3rd position, and more importantly, one of the top 3 golden tickets to the World's Strongest Man. Well, he's fighting on here, Shahlaei, but it's time up, and 3 stones in 14.5 seconds. This is very much the chink in Shahlei's armor. He started 4 great events to start the day off, and then zeroed in the log. And he might as well have just zeroed there in the stones. Brian Shaw, his turn next. A lot of people would say he is the king of the stones. The world's strongest man this year. He'll get a chance to prove that when we have the first ever battle for the title. And look at that, boom. Last one goes up like a basketball. 14.2 seconds. Sure does help when you're 6'8". But he is wildly strong. Just plops it on, annihilates the time by Stefan Solvi, and Savickas comes out last. Last man, last event, but he's very much in first. Now, he does not have to do all these. He does not have to beat Brian Shaw. All he had to do was put that first stone up, in fact. And Savickas has now done enough to guarantee first place here at the opening Giants Live of the season. Following on not too long since his World's Strongest Man win. His 2nd World's Strongest Man win. And he looks good for a 3rd if the rest of the season goes like this. Shaw wins the stones here, though. But Shahlaei, importantly, down the bottom there in 6th. Overall then, Shahlaei slips by a point and a half behind Stefan Solvi, who gets on to third position. Stoyan second, but it's the Big Z who's on top.
So Zydrunas, congratulations once again, you're the champion. A good day for you?
Thank you. I'm very happy. I won this hard competition. Was very good athletes, and I am very happy that I lift world record in upper axle.
What happened in the stones though?
It was last event. I am tired, and also stones was a little bit dirty, and it's my taki go out, and I can't finish the event.
Oh well, listen, congratulations once again. Savickas wins the competition.
Thank you.
Cheers. Laurence, I can see they're moving your name off the podium. Obviously, that's bitterly disappointing for you. Down to fourth. What happened in the stones?
Stones is always just crap for me. I'm not going to beat around the bush. It's a weak event. The problem for me was the event before. I don't know if maybe I took too much energy on the earlier events, but 150 log and not getting no reps, that cost me big time. Usually I get at least maybe 5, but it's one of those things. I've had fun today. Back enjoying Strongman, so this year is going to be a lot stronger. I'll come back next competition, have some fun.
Well done to Stefan Solvi-Peterson, who grabbed that third place right at the end. The Icelander, along with Shaw, guarantee themselves to go back to World's Strongest Man. Savickas, of course, already did that when he won the title. Well, join us next time when we move on to the XL Arena in London for another Giants Live, a part of a huge expo where another host of strength stars will be taking part. Thanks for watching. Till next time, bye-bye.